It's October the 5th, 2016. I'm Dana Durnford, your host, a nuclear proctologist .org, and we are live streaming right here at beautiful girl boy Dana on YouTube. Yay! Now, unfortunately, the subject we're going to be covering is about man-made radiation and its effect upon the environment and the multiple meltdowns in Japan that will take thousands of years of babysitting before we can actually find out where they're to. That's the reality we're facing. Good night, everybody. Hello, everybody. How is everybody? And we never streamed yesterday. Incredible busy. And that's not normal. It's supposed to be right there. Hi, everybody. Elaine made it through. She's on the run. She's got hurricane on her toes. And hi, Elaine. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're settled down. I know everybody in Florida, Hurricane Mathew is coming through. And Hurricane Mathew has the longest history of a Category 4 storm. Just got to organize this a bit better. It has the longest history of another number 4 storm, and this is a direct result of the radioactive materials in Japan's multi-reactors. Storms could be caused by solar flares, and then once they start up, the heated water from the radiation, and then the radiation itself, which is pulsing every second, magnifies the storm to do things that it normally would never been able to do. And we've seen these numbers like China recently where the wind speeds hit 230 mile an hour confirmed. And so you would be looking at gusts in excess of 260, 70 miles per hour. If that is not the most frightening thing imaginable, then I guess it's my haircut would be the most frightening thing. Yeah, I was going to get my haircut today, but we had a long day. Once again, we're well on our way to the documentary and to the lectures and everything else that we're extremely grateful to have the opportunity to do. And the last stream, we were talking about the coastline of British Columbia, Canada. We were going through pictures that I took and some headlines. These are pictures I took of the coastline. And just for comparisons, that's the boat. That's the coastline. The arrows are representations of where I went. Little zodiac. And then this is what you would expect to find. All kinds of life not naked. Like these pictures. This picture is the picture I took, but these are the same spot pre-Fukushima. And so the whole coastline was just diversity, this amazing amount of color and everything else. And when we go to the same beaches, they're completely naked and barren. And so it's really striking that the whole coastline is like that. And all we're going to do tonight is we're going to finish off the pictures I didn't show the last time of the coastline and some of the headlines. Plutonium and uranium flows into the ocean. Fukushima, heavily contaminated waters leaking out of the plant. Heavily contaminated waters leaking out of the plant. And that's not what we wanted. Someday I'll get it right. Probably won't be today, though, so we'll just do what we got. I'll pump myself down in the corner for something to do. Because it's easier for me to do it this way sometimes than it is to play games. Let me go back to that headline. Melted fuel releasing hundreds of different radioactive materials. And so 100 times materials, right? Take a calculator out, take 100 and multiply it by materials. Sounds like a tough equation to me, Dana. Because we don't know what the materials are. Well, it's all of the ranges of isotopes, and each one has all its daughters. Officials refuse to investigate 90% of these. Yeah, because they only look at cesium, which is a tracer. It's so hard to find a study on any other isotope. So the black sponges, the mold, what looks like a mold there, black sponges. Some of this is mold. That's not supposed to be there, but some of it is sponges. There's supposed to be 70 species of sponges on the coastline. And 600 algae, minimum. Birthday's today, by the way. Thank you, Amthers, Paul, Johnson, Esther. Can't pronounce your name, Esther Pasta. Ellie. Hi, everybody. Faker A, government. William CJ. Elaine's busy tonight. Hugs, Elaine. She showed up at a good time. I can see that. No hurricane can keep Elaine away. She's in for the fight. She's not here to play games. Seriousness of the current situation at Fukushima, and Elaine's doing the monitoring, and it's taking a huge load off my shoulders, and I hope she's able to maintain it, and if she can't, I can certainly understand it. But when you've got trolls, it's easy to ban them, and if not, a whole lot of satisfaction, too. But yeah, no, my birthday, thank goodness. Every year I have this birthday. We celebrate it here. And I'm pretty burnt out from everything I'm doing. Pretty happy, though, with everything that I've accomplished in the last week or so, since the second time they arrested me. Third and fourth coming soon, I'm sure. The seriousness of the current situation in Fukushima can't be understated. Unmitigated radiation is poured into the Pacific Ocean, and they don't know how to stop the radioactive leak, and we'll never know how to stop this, is the assertions. 2014. These are pictures I took of the coastline. As you can see now, it's naked. The bull kelp, and we'll show you more pictures of the kelp, is destroyed. It's completely rotten. But this is low tide, the very low tide, and then down at the low tide line itself at low tide. How confusing does that get? And so these are around 300 pictures I picked out of the 2,000 plus. They're all up at the nuclear proctologist. This spot is called Dundas Island. If you go to nuclear proctologist, you can look at all 2,000 pictures. I don't know why, because I got all the clear ones picked there, and you can see them here. But they're there for you. You can download them, do what you want with them. They're free for everybody. Only about 1% of the sockeye salmon come in the U.S. waters from the Pacific. Normally 50 times higher. So they were saying, oh, well, they must have migrated a different way, but they actually never showed up. Warm blob off the West Coast may be to blame. So they'll blame it on anything but Fukushima. Literally anything but Fukushima. No, it was probably aliens. Yeah. No, well, we don't think the aliens exist, but Fukushima doesn't exist. So it was probably aliens. Warm blob off the West Coast was 1,000 square miles. If a hurricane or typhoon or wherever these blobs were to goes through those areas, you increase the speed of the hurricane. Hang on, I gotta do this again. Nothing's working proper, but it's working close enough. Let's keep moving. Look how naked it is at low tide. Look, there's supposed to be 5,600 algae. Once again, let me remind you of what the rock piles should look like. See it on my head? Let me come up with a more cleaner. This is such a great depiction of what the whole coastline should look like right there. But these colors, this diversity is a better picture. That kind of picture is emblematic of the coastline, certainly. This is emblematic of the coastline. That's emblematic of what you would expect to see in the pictures that I took on the coastline. And so when you look at something like that, and then you compare it to what it looks like, right? Gorgeous, hideous, right? And as you can see, even where the sandy beaches and the rock piles and there's rocks, you can see the rocks in the water around me there. And I can't zoom in on that. It's okay. I never fixed it since last time. Models show North America hit with because I was in another session. I wasn't in this session doing the documentary, so it was in another session and whatever. Models show North America was hit with very high levels from Fukushima plume, and West Coast was up to 500 times more than expected. Yeah, from the pictures I took of the coastline, I'd say that's pretty accurate. One thing about the whole coastline, we didn't find any plastic. We found a little bit, don't get me wrong. But we took 2,000 pictures of each of these places we went to. And let me remind you of how much of the coastline over a 260-day period we actually covered. See all the arrows? That's the entire coast of Canada, right from one end to the other end. We covered it. 260 days, 15,000 miles. So there is no, nobody else has ever done a study in the last 6 years. We're it. We're the only organization, the nuclearproctologist.org, Dana and the Hounds of Fukushima. Call us what you like. But we're the only organization, the only group that went out and done a species count in 6 years on the coastline of Canada. Nobody else will ever go do a species count. We are the last ones to do that species count. That on its own is historical, yeah? Nobody else can go do a species count because then they got to come out and tell the same story as me. And my cigarettes don't got 7,000 chemicals. I've been waiting for like an hour and a half to have this cigarette, so. So busy doing everything else, I couldn't do anything else. So look at the coastline, and these are pictures I took last year in August the 10th up at Dundas Island. You can see how utterly naked these coastlines are. Let's see how screwed up this gets. Can I zoom in now? Dana, stop freaking doing stuff. Yeah, they're going to do it or do it. Looks like there's two Danas here. Maybe I get rid of that Dana, then there's that Dana. See, that's not confusing at all, is it? Yeah, but you're not here on the other end of this machine being tortured for an hour each time. I'm not tortured. I like what I'm doing. I'm not supposed to like what I'm doing, but that's the only way you can be good at it. You have to like what you're doing. As much as I say I hate what I'm doing, I'm glad it's me. So, yeah, if you were a deer shipwreck, you starved to death. Yeah? If you're a deer shipwreck, you starved to death. If you're here shipwrecked, you're going to starve to death. I got no idea what I got done now. Oh, I got to go this way. And if you go up the coastline, normally you wouldn't starve to death. No matter where you went, you can find food, yeah? No matter how hard you try, there's no way to starve. I'm sorry. No matter how hard you try, wherever you went ashore, you would find an amazing amount of life. It would be impossible for you not to get a meal immediately. Totally impossible, see? But now you will starve to death. If that little handful of algae that is left on the coastline disappears, you'll think you're on the moon because there's nothing left on those rocks. These are low tides. Had to be good weather. This is the wild west coast of British Columbia, Canada. This is about 10, 12 miles from Alaska border. This is heading down the west side. These two species you see are the only two species that are highly visible, but they're not in good shape or anything. And the scattered invertebrates and everything else that you might find are insignificant compared to what's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be completely buried in life. Once again, these pictures are showing these starfish are not going to survive. They're highly impacted. This is the same species, both of these colors. Purple, red, and orange are the same species, same family. They could have had the same mommy. Dana, you don't call starfish mommies, Dana. Get with the program, dude. And so all of these little weird spots seems pretty nice when you're looking at it in the picture, but trust me, this is difficult work. Currents are flowing, and you can get into trouble in a heartbeat. You have so many things against you, so many things underwater you can't see. You can see the water rises dramatically. This is low tide. And for the rest of it, it's all basically pictures. We're going to flash through these pictures because I'll never get through them. These are the pictures we picked out. And what they do is they show an extinction event on the coastline of British Columbia. Don't ask me why I'm doing that tonight. It's just, I decided I wanted to finish off showing all these pictures, and I don't know what compelled me to do it. You can see how weird the coastline is. And you see that orange spot in at the center? We're going to come in close to that. That's a marker. I'm not in the picture again. Can't take Dana anywhere, man. And once again, if there's any seals or if there's birds coming along that shoreline, they will starve to death. There's nothing on the shoreline to eat. Normally, if the birds are starving to death, they can come ashore and they can eat. Just stick their face down and go ahead and eat whatever they want wherever they're to. They don't even have to dive. They can just come ashore and eat stuff, right? Just a low tide. They can't miss it. They can't get away from all the food throughout the coastline. You can't avoid it if you're a bird. Now you'll go to the same spot, you'll starve to death, right? There's no way to feed yourself. There's no way to survive in that environment. It should look like that. But these are the pictures from that spot. And the whole coastline, look how bad that kelp is. Let me fix that, because otherwise I might never figure this out. Look, the whole coastline, the kelp is like that throughout the whole coastline. Hi, everybody. Hi, Sensor. Kiss. Kiss, I haven't got my glasses on, so I'm just going to say kiss. Radical Home Goddess. And Radical's got a book out. I hope I'm not embarrassing her by always saying it every time I see her. I know I'm not. That's why I get the funny faces sometimes. But I sometimes I feel bad because I feel like I'm putting her on the spot. But she's trying, right? She's blogged so much. She put herself out there so many times. I'm just trying to support her. That's what I do. That's, I can't support everybody. I don't have enough room, but when I can, I will. You can be sure. Zoe. Here's the kelp, the algae. So it's done, right? That was last year. It's definitely done now. The whole coastline was like this, and this was the last remaining kelp in bulk on the coastline. It's known as bull kelp. I've been tangled up in this underwater. I got 14,000 hours underwater. But I've been tangled up in this like a fly in a spider web underwater, 20, 30, 40 feet down, where I've had to take the regulator of my mouth and chew through the kelp. And it's hard. This stuff here, you can tear it apart with your fingers. I kid you not. As you can see, it's totally dead. We've never seen kelp look like this in the whole coastline. And I worked in this for 14 years. Look at it. I mean, that's something, see? The whole coastline is like this. You can check the pictures up at the nuclear proctologist of the whole coastline. And it's really staggering. It really is something when you think about that's the end of it. That's the end of life as we know it right now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. There's no more denying it. There's no way to pretend. There's no way to misrepresent it. There's no way to get away from it. There's no way to ignore it. You can't ignore what we got done. You can't. The nuclear can pretend it's all great and powerful, but it's not, and that it knows it. They can do all the posturing. They got nowhere to put the fuel. They can say we're going to build all these plants, but they can't because they got nowhere to put the fuel. Right, that's what stops them. But it could, like we seen a power plant in Bessie down there in the States, that took like 40 years to build. So they can build a plant, but that doesn't mean they're going to be able to do anything with it. The world is turning against everything nuclear as we speak. The last couple of weeks, since they convicted me, that has been their own demise now. Since the kangaroo court, where no evidence is allowed and where only the apologists have rights, where only the thugs reign, and truth is abolished. It will come back and haunt the world, what they've done. And we're moved on from that stuff, obviously, but the world will be haunted, what they got done. Our one opportunity for the planet has now been destroyed by a handful of people with no moral compass and no one to hold them accountable. The media turned their backs on us, and that the academic community bowed down and licked boots until they were told not to. And so it'll be what it's going to be, but the resistance is gaining every day. The outrage against nuclear is growing into a very strong, solid. Now, I'm the most censored person on the internet, period. Gag orders and everything else. Look at the kelp, though. Wow, eh? There's something. It's totally devastated, completely. I've never seen that. 14,000 hours underwater, I've never seen nothing like this. And this is the whole coastline. What the hell just happened that time? Hang on, I'll get back up. I smurfed that up anyway. Yeah, we left off here and we moved down to right around there. And we'll boogie through these pictures. Look at that. Is that not something disgusting? Nuts for art. Yeah, they say, that's right. Nuts for art is Lonnie, Age of Fission radio show, was talking in the comment section about uranium stocks on the rise. Yeah, no, that was the Globe and Mail. They're the ones that are always after telling people the stocks are rising when they've fallen straight for 5 years. It's just more propaganda, as Lonnie knows. And hi, Elaine and Jason, Paul, Amthurst, Deb, and Ellie, everybody. I'm your author. That's Jace. Elaine was talking to. Slacker. Yeah, let's put the spent fuel pool on top of the reactor. What could possibly go wrong? 3 meltdowns. Rage against the reactor. Hokey pokey. Bats also on endangered list. Bats help pollinate bananas. We hate bananas around here. No, we don't. That kelp looks like stuff in your trash bin. Thanks, Jace. I wouldn't even know it was my birthday if Elaine didn't send me an email. I'm not kidding. Not making it up either. That's the fact. That's how busy I actually am. I'm motivated, trust me, to get this documentary, get it and do lectures, and get on with finding solutions, get on with a way forward, get on with waking this planet up, get on with dropping nuclear out of a friggin', I can't say nothing night. The industry is the most paranoid industry you ever saw, nuclear industry. These people got the thinnest skin on the planet. These people are the biggest cowards you could ever meet, period. There's nothing more cowardly than a pro-nuclear. Pro-nuclear are the biggest chicken X ever created. That little algae disappears, and the rocks will be naked. Yeah, that couple of algae is all done then, boy. So even the 350 pictures I picked out weren't all clear or clean anyway, were they? Just those couple of starfish, that's it, basically, and 2 or 3 algae, right? And that whole coastline. See, that is shocking. That is horrifying. And that black mold. That's not sponge. That's like a mold. Sponge is different. It's thick. This is not thick. This is taking over the ocean floor to that black stuff. Displaced, and other stuff won't go near it, eh? You'll see it here. Nothing grows where the black is, though. Less algae here. So that's another beaches. We're moving along. All it is 350 pictures that I picked out of a couple of thousand for that particular spot. And then those pictures, I'm going to pick a handful out of them for the documentary. But because we have so many spots, you couldn't possibly make a documentary to encompass all the pictures from every spot. You can just tell the story, right? That's all you can do. So I had to go through everything. Not have to, but I already done it. So I've gone through everything to do species counts. So everything is the documentation of it all. So the black you've seen is not a sponge. There's 70 different species of sponges on the coast. There's 78 species of sea anemones, 76 species of starfish. There's 600 to 700 algae, kelps, 480 species of worms. There's all the clams, all the mussels, the mollusks, all the snails. And then you're talking about, these are just the highly visible species that I'm referring to. Up at the high tide line, there's normally all kinds of faunas and flora and sea anemones that live in the saltwater top part. That's all gone. Look how naked the rocks really are. See, how can a flock of birds survive anywhere along there? How can the wildlife on those islands survive? How can Mother Nature thrive? How can you call the ocean healthy when the ocean is not seeding the coastline? These are simple questions. And then the little tiny specks of algae you see there. See, normally that's covered in algae, around 600. And amongst that would be over 6,000 invertebrates without the backbone, like little shrimps. That's all gone too. There's around 30,000 species of insects along the coastline. We've seen around 30 species out of the 30,000. And all these nooks and crannies that I'm checking, all these little rocks, most of these rocks were buried underwater at high tide. And so there's nothing there, truly nothing there. What you're seeing there is gooseneck barnacles and some small mussels. And these green sea anemones and purple and orange and reddish starfish. Purple, orange, and reddish starfish are the same family, same species. And you see baby Clintons there. You don't see the adults. I've only seen 2 adults on the whole coastline. And then the green sea anemones, they come in multiple colors in that family, but that's the only one you usually see. And you should see 500 per square meters of the white ones and the brown ones and pale type ones are all from the same family, giant plume sea anemones. But up high, these gooseneck barnacles. And they normally attach themselves to barnacles. That's why they call them gooseneck barnacles. You'll find them attached to barnacles. You'll also find them attached themselves to the big California blue mussels, the big mussels on the coastline. And so it looks pretty healthy. It looks pretty good, yeah, but look at a blow-up picture from far back. Everything else around it is dead. And so, you can find a meal there because you can eat that stuff, and I have eaten a lot. I have eaten a lot of these guys. And they're about the size of your pinky. There's a chunk of meat inside of it. And all you got to do is boil it for like 10 minutes. And the skin peels right off, and you can eat that big chunk of meat in there. But the head of it is ivory. What you're looking at, that's actually ivory. Those little pieces, white pieces, that's ivory, like elephant ivory. So tonight I just wanted to come out and finish off those pictures. We're almost a half an hour into the stream. Fuki USA, I missed you last time. Forgot to say hi. Heather Don, hi Heather. Alex, Elaine just saying she drove 400 miles to get away to find a spot. Wow. Elaine feels like she's on a boat a bit, yeah, after 400 miles. And everybody was running at it. There was just one line of traffic, one big line of traffic, a few rows thick, heading out of the city. That must have been chaos for Elaine to head up there. And so little barnacles, but those barnacles, if you scrub up against it, you'll knock them off. They don't have integrity. Normally they rip your, that bird come in around the corner. I can't remember. And he landed and took off again. I just wanted to show those pictures of him running away again. Because like you say, he came in around the corner, right? And then he seen me, and I was moving towards him. Zoe was barking, "Get out of my way!" And then he boogied at her. There's 3 more pictures. Yeah, it's not very good light. You can see the cloud cover that day is pretty heavy. And so there's fish left down there. We haven't got that many more pictures. Might as well burn through them all. See, these are the top picks. These are my top picks from 2,000 pictures, which is still nothing there. I think the number for here is 12 species, 13 species or something. Out of the 5,600 that should be there. Right? It should be highly visible species. You should have no problem seeing life everywhere you go. Colors should be very vibrant. Should stand out like a sore thumb. Should be too dangerous to go ashore because of those sea urchins, right? Driving over that is a hole in your zodiac, yeah? Well, look at all the life there, every millimeter. And then the giant plume sea anemones, which come in that color, which is like an orange for us. They also come in white, and they come in kind of a grayish color. And so the colors are all gone. And that was from Louise Narrows and Haiti, formerly Queen Charlotte, known as Queen Charlotte, also now it's called Haiti. But the whole shoreline should be, that's the dead, or that's when it first happened. Look at them all dying. But this is typical of that coastline. Very, very, the whole coastline of Canada was like that, every bit of it. Now the whole coastline, if you're lucky, Got a few species left on it, but if they disappear, it's all gone, and they will disappear. We're not trying to stop the reactors. It takes 45 days for the ocean currents to bring all the radiation here. You can see really in these spots, there's just those couple of starfish only hanging on. And that was unusual to find starfish. This was one of the few places you actually found starfish. There was a few, but they were just a species only, basically. We found 5 species altogether. None of them were healthy. None of them were in large populations. Never found any young. The first young starfish we found was being eaten by an adult. I took pictures of that. Remember that? Once again, gooseneck barnacles, a few mussels, and a few barnacles, and 3 or 4 algae. Once that's gone, it's naked. Right now, there's nothing there to sustain life, and that's why there's no life there. I wasn't harassed by insects at any given time along the coastline. And these starfish are random, but they're life, so you took a picture of them, see? So that's why you say, oh, Dan, I see starfish in lots of your pictures. Well, no, you're only looking at the choice pictures. I was doing a count on how many starfish I've seen along the coastline. So every picture that even got 1 in it, I got to put it in my pile so I can count it, right? It doesn't mean nothing. It's a lot of work for nothing, but I feel compelled to do it because it's the last species count on the coastline of Canada in the last 6 years. It's the only species count, and probably the last one, no doubt, because there is no species to count. Nobody else has come public with a count. Only us. We're it. There's no way to contradict what I've done. There's no way to come out and say, Dana missed this or Dana missed that, because I didn't. Didn't miss anything. And anybody who knows anything about me or watched any of my videos would know that about me, is that I'm methodical, that I covered the entire coast of Canada, and that when we went ashore, for goodness sakes, right? We had that luxury, right? We carried that on the roof of this normally. Yeah, and so I went ashore in all these places. I provide GPSs of all the places. So I'm very open with everybody. It's all published up at the nuclearproctologist.org for free for everybody. We're not trying to deceive anybody or manipulate anybody or misrepresent anything. We went with an open mind, hoping to find oases of nature, right? And we know what the oasis is supposed to look like because we have all kinds of documentation of it. But we never found it anywhere on the entire coastline. And like you say, it's not going to be a full stream tonight. This is my birthday. Pretty burnt out. Haven't stopped all day. Accomplishing things all day. Tomorrow's going to be a stupidly busy day again for me. So no rest for me and no rest for anybody else, I'm sure. Everybody's in this together. And the coastline got a couple of algae, but that's not the way it's supposed to look, see? And then there's nothing there to sustain life. So all the seals and sea lions and all the birds and everything else that died on the coastline. So when a bird comes to shore, now this here you can actually see snails. Sorry, this picture. This one here, we should be able to zoom in a little bit. And those little white things you see on the walls, that's actually snails. And so that was unusual to see that. Oh, I know what I got done. I got this set up a different way, did I? I'll fix it. Dana, fix it. I just wanted to get it so next time I zoom in, it'll zoom right in for me, right? Straight in, like that. And there we go. I'll leave it out here. And Zoe in the handheld. That's my second GPS. That one there. The other one had just died. Lane bought me that one. Shanikin. And you need one on your boat with you, because sometimes you can't find your way back. Because there's like hundreds of islands all around you. And you spend hours meandering through the island, and then a bit of wind comes up, and the tides rise, and everything looks different, right? The tide rises up 6-7 feet. The whole coastline looks completely different than what it did before. And that one there is working again. It was broken on the way home, but now, when I went the last time, it was working. And so this whole coastline was really something. This was haunting to go down the coastline and see this. There is no life. The kelp is rotten, and the handful of algae that are left are not able to sustain life. I got like 6 pictures. We'll just burn through them. But look up in Like the high tide zone is way up. High tide zone is up at the top of those rocks. And so these kind of places with all these rocks is a perfect habitat. That's very sheltered. Should be buried in life, see? And I'll bring you a depiction of that, maybe. So the tide zones, Dana, that's not really what I wanted to show you. The rock piles themselves, right? This is what it should look like everywhere. It should be just like an amazing smorgasbord of life. It should be the most amazing thing, most amazing thing imaginable, which is what I'm familiar with, but it's not. And Dana's little girl. Boy, I missed that doggy. I tell you what, that's something. Radiation in the Pacific Ocean is the death of the Pacific Ocean, yeah? That's what you're looking at. You're looking at the death of the Pacific Ocean right there. This is the last of it, what you see dying there. And the whole coastline of Canada, the entire coastline of Canada. Hang on. Entire coastline of Canada, which is what we done. 260 days, all those arrows. People have to appreciate how much work is actually involved in something like that, how hard that was and what it took for everybody to pull together to make this happen. I might have been the person who went out there, but I couldn't have went out there without everybody. And with the support and with the financial help and the endless financial help from some people. How could it have been done, see? How could you do it? We'll come back over to that one, maybe. Here we go. And I see Jan Brooke, Miss Milky the Clown, has a number of videos out recently from the Jeff Rinces where she's done an amazing amount of work on those videos, those interviews, me, Yoshi, and Jeff Rince. Really, really hardcore. Miss Milky the Clown, you'll find links below. One. And my cigarettes don't got 7,000 chemicals. I like saying that anyway. They don't got 7,000 chemicals. Does that make me a hater? Do I think I'm better than everybody else because I won't smoke cigarettes with 7,000 chemicals? Could be. I'm not telling. That's not what I wanted. I wanted something back a bit. And then for... That's not what we wanted to be, was it? Hang on. Now let me bring up the reactors for a second. That's reactor 3. See that yellow bulb alongside of it? See that yellow bulb? That's supposed to be in the center on the top. So the yellow bulb on the side and the piece in front of it, and behind it on the side is supposed to be in the center at the top. And I got a depiction where that's unit 3. This is 2 million times worse than any other reactor on the planet. But when you marry those two buildings together, or that's unit 3, I'm sorry, and one unit 4. This one here. So the bulb on the side is supposed to be up high in the center. The fuel pools are up high at the top of the building. So this is an event. They can come out and say all they want and kick and scream and whine. This is unit 1. That's the top of it. It's all gone. The fuel pools are gone. That's 6 reactor cores total in that building. This is unit 2. It's all gone. There's 6 reactors cores in that building. This is unit 3. It's all gone. Completely gone. All the fuel pools with the reactor cores are gone, and the reactor core is gone. This is unit 4. It's supposed to be a 10-story building. The reactor cores and the fuel pools are up high in the building. They're all gone. There's 24 reactor cores. They picked up 30 million bags, 1-ton bags. 30 million. 30 million 1-ton bags. The homeless, the destitute, and the immigrants who don't speak the language. That on its own is the biggest betrayal imaginable. That on its own shows how merciless nuclear truly is. But if you want to understand how spineless and soulless and heartless nuclear is, you have to go no further than your local hospital, where 97% of the cancer victims are given radiation treatment and they die before they would have without it. Every animal in every study for 70 years have died. I'm not going to show them tonight. But everything nuclear touches, it kills. They can go out and pretend all they want, but it's not going to last much longer. There's no proof that nuclear does anything good for anybody. It's definitely never was, never will be carbon free. They have to dig up mountains and mountains and mountains and mountains and mountains. The superstorms that we're seeing, like China and Fiji and Tonga, and the Philippines, Mexico, and Haiti and Jamaica and Dominican Republic, these are driven past the excesses by the warm ocean from the radiation fallout, because the radiation never stops producing the energy. That's why we have terrorist laws, nuclear waste sites, and that there's so much of it released from 24 reactors. Now, you got to realize the whole coastline, 400 kilometers of Japan, 400 kilometers of Japan was turned into a wood chipper. People died throughout the whole coastline. It was like total destruction, and this is where all the people died. This is where all the 15 reactors are, and that a Fukushima prefecture, Fukushima governor strongly demanded TEPCO decommission, dismantle all 10 of the reactors. There's 15 of them in that area where the tsunami killed all those people. The yellow are all the people missing. And then the power plants are right in that area. So do you think a nuclear power plant survived that? Do you think really, truly that a nuclear power plant survived that? Or that? Or this? Or that? Do you think nuclear power plant, that's surviving? Do you think that's surviving? Do you think that's surviving? Do you think that nuclear plant there survived? Huh? Do you? Do you think that's what they call surviving, when everything is missing, all the fuel pools that were at the top of the building and the reactor core up high in the center of the building? You think that survived? No, of course not, right? It's completely gone. And that TEPCO come out and showed us pictures like that and said, and Seth Dorn is another one who done it, and said he's inside of a building that doesn't exist. Miles O'Brien was the same way. They all say that there is inside of this building here. So the whole system is completely out of control. We're almost 45 minutes in. I'm going to come over and say goodnight to everybody. And the 16th is Lonnie's birthday. Happy birthday, Lonnie. Hi, Albert. And Elaine, hugs Elaine. I hope you're doing okay tonight, honey. Alex Smith, CJ, Fuku, Nuts for Art, Censor, William, Amthirst. Good night, everybody. Hugs for everybody. Nathan, I know I missed a few people last time. Government fakery, Slacker. Hi, everybody. Paul, just burn up and say Fuku, USA. I forgot to say hi to her the last time. I noticed the name after. And then I was like, damn it, I don't remember saying good night to them. Hi to everybody. Hello, everybody. Ellie, anybody I did miss, my apologies. Back again tomorrow, back up to normal. I'm working hard. Yeah, you're welcome, Elaine. You bet, honey. And that's for Art. Hugs, honey. See you Friday morning. Lonnie and Lonnie's show, Age of Fishing. Is that right, Lonnie? I'm on Friday, or what's up? Just send me an email if something else is happening. And everybody, remember, we're the resistance. We got to keep it alive as the planet's waking up. It does feel like the planet's waking up. It does feel like people are coming into an awakening itself, and that we are seeing this whole world wake up and realize that including academics, including scientists. All kinds of people on this planet are now speaking out heavily against nuclear because of what we've done. Because when you look at it, you can't deny it, you can't pretend, you can't close your eyes, you can't walk away. That's what nuclear has done, is forced this planet to fight for its life. And the pro-nukes are so crazy, are so mentally ill, are so disgusting and despicable and vicious and vindictive that the only way they will go is when we force them to go. They will not give it up. They've killed every animal for 70 years. For 70 years, every animal, millions of studies. So there is no doubt they will not stop mass slaughter and murder for nothing. Because they don't think the world will wake up. And they understand in the last year or so the death of the Pacific Ocean means that all the rules are off the table. Hugs for everybody. Thank you, everybody. We'll see everybody on the rebound tomorrow. I got to try to stick to it. When I say the moral, I got to mean the moral. So I know sometimes I falter, but I'm pretty burnt out. That don't mean jack shit. Hugs, everybody. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Take care.